I'm Ashley.
And I'm Sadie.
And I'm Jenna.
Yay, we have another Jenna.
Yeah.
So this,
Oh,
yeah,
how ironic. Yeah, I just now put together two and two that our first two guests just happened to be Jenna and Jenna.
yeah, and they're
Huh.
spelled the same and everything. So that's
Oh,
fantastic.
wow.
Love that.
Huh. We planned that.
Yeah, yeah, totally. That was definitely on purpose. But anyway, hi, hello, everyone. Welcome back to Misfits Podcast. We're going to do another fun interview with another, she's a competitor, um, badass mom, wife, backstage, tan, makeup, glam, model person. She's
Yeah,
all,
like glam girl.
yeah, yes. So actually, Duncan, if you want to do a little bit more intro, and then we'll let Jenna kind of do her thing since she was
Yeah.
actually a client with you for a while, wasn't she?
Yeah, for like a long time. Um, so Jenna was one of my like very first clients I ever had. And it was when I was actually with another team and coached under this team. And we onboarded Jenna at that time. And then when I broke away and did my own uh, training and under my own name, so independently, Jenna stuck with me. So, yeah, and then it became a beautiful friendship, and we were always very close. So, one of the things that I love about like a coaching client dynamic, like that relationship, and Sadie, you can probably speak to this too, is like, that as a coach, and I think this goes to like any sport, um, you develop such a strong relationship. And I see this in other coach and athlete relationships. I see this with my daughter and her coach. Like it becomes just such a bond because like you're really sharing the ups and the downs because with competing, whether it's bodybuilding or any other sport, I think a good coach shows you, not just about the sport itself, but just like how to take those, um, teachings and how to apply them in other aspects of your life. So whether that's like discipline or perseverance, hard work, all the things. And when I think of over my life, some of great coaches I've had, um, those are all things that I, look for and was important to me. So, yeah, so with that, it just, Jen and I became excellent friends. I feel like the two of us went through a lot. Um, and, it was funny because I remember some of our really in-depth phone calls and kind of saying like, okay, this is like off the not the coaching record because no matter what I'm always your coach or during those times, but it was kind of like, okay, we're not going to focus on coaching today, like from your friend, as a friend, this is where our discussion leads. And so yeah, it's that's one of the beautiful things I've enjoyed about coaching is because it has brought me to some of my closest friendships that I still have to this day. So and just such a blessing to cross paths with these beautiful like-minded individuals. And Jenna is a force to be reckoned with, let me tell you, you guys. um, through our coaching journey, she had to really go through a lot, personally. And Jen, I won't like share, super personal details, but like as a competitor too, our bodies change, we change. There was some hormonal obstacles that we went through during the years, and and just personal growth overall. So being there for those through all aspects of the journey really, bring that connection to someone. So Jen is a awesome individual. So and gorgeous, and it's been fun seeing her take her um, competing, uh, you know, um, goals and then turn them into business goals. So yeah, so Jenna started out as a bikini athlete and PC. And Jenna, if you can kind of just give us an idea, like maybe why you decided to compete, maybe what led you to that, maybe why you chose bikini in the first place, some pros and cons of bikini, what was hard for you? What did you like? What was competing like? Maybe what surprised you? Like, just enlighten any of the listeners, like, you know, coming from someone who just, had you competed before? Like, I know the answers to a lot of these, but help us to just get an insight on like just the bikini portion of your competing first.
Yeah. Well, thank you both for having me on here. Like Ashley said, I am her client and whatnot, and it's been great having her as the coach. But starting in bikini, I had always been like high school, like I always did soccer and all that stuff. In college, I always did fitness classes and all that. And I think becoming a mom, and I was going through a lot of tough times, and then COVID hit. I just had my third baby, and I just kind of needed an escape of what I was going through personally. And obviously, everything was on lockdown. So I just started like 4 a.m. every morning, even though I had three little ones, like started working out, just fully went full into my fitness journey. And I needed another goal. So I was like, maybe like, I know being from a small town, and you guys understand this too. I know Ashley, it's kind of hard getting into it when you're in a small town because you have so many people that judge you or like think the sport is totally different than what it is. And I didn't tell anyone. I didn't really tell anyone, but I know when I called Ashley, like I actually heard her on a podcast. I was like, gosh, she resonates so much of like who I am as a person, what she
Mm-hmm.
goes through, like mom life, small town, all that. So I think like I just needed another goal in life to look forward to and really get into it. So bikini was something I had always looked at, and I think in the generation we grew up in, it was more like you always just wanted to be this tiny little number like on the scale. You always wanted to be so small and skinny. So I was like in my head at first, I think that was my first goal, is like I just want to be as small as possible, and this was how I was going to get there. And I absolutely loved bikini. Like I loved it. And at that time, like my body shape was still kind of more in the bikini, but I had always been more bottom heavy my whole entire life. So genetically, I probably was always going to be more wellness, but wellness had just started in 2020, I think it was. So
Yeah. Yep.
yeah, wellness wasn't even on my radar when I started thinking about it. So bikini was where I wanted to be, and I absolutely loved the focus, the drive, everything of competition, and getting down to that smallest number. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. But then you also can get to that smallest number, and you're like, I don't have a butt anymore. Like I don't have like certain things that I always thought,
Mm-hmm.
getting to that certain number was going to be like my top goal. And then you get to it and you're like, well, maybe not. Like,
Yes.
so it was just kind of a weird transition. Like you finally got there, but you're like, you still weren't satisfied with how your body looks, because I still wanted more of that muscle and tone look. And
Mhm.
it was the first competition I did, and I did good in it. And then it was the next one that after I got my feedback from the judges, they're like, maybe try doing wellness. So I that was never even on my radar because I didn't know much about it at that point. And then the next competition we did was a month or 6 weeks later.
Mm-hmm.
And the I did both bikini and wellness that one, and I did better in the wellness division. So then that's when I
Yes.
took off with that. But I do love bikini. I absolutely love those ladies and watching them, but genetically my body was more wellness.
Right. So, for context, for some of the listeners, and I know that we've gone over some of this before in other podcasts, but bikini's focus is really about balance and symmetry. So, top to bottom balance, right to left bottom or balance. And so it kind of creates like this, some will call it like hourglass, some call it X frame. But regardless of how you look at it, it's very symmetrical, very balanced top to bottom.
Mhm.
And what Jena, something that we struggled with that is, that you're going to see this in any division, whether it's male or female, but you can only fight genetics so much. So, even with the best trainer, the best diet, the best workout plan, all your ducks in a row, at the end of the day, some people, your genetics will play a huge role in where you fit. And so in Jena's case, and some of it could have been your body structure, some could have been your history in your sport, soccer players, gymnasts, those really high explosive type sports, those athletes tend to carry more muscle dominance in their lower body. And so with Jena, we would get her lean, but her bottom half just really wanted to retain muscle more so than the top half. So with any type of a cut, it's to be suspected that most athletes are going to lose some muscle. And, that's a whole different podcast, to just really explain that, but that's just how it is. If you are going to lose body fat, you might lose a little bit of muscle. And that's why, the longer you can stretch this, that way you make it less stress on your body, all the things. But when you lose muscle, genetically, it can also be determined, the way you break down muscle, or where your body chooses to build muscle, where your body chooses to give up muscle, can really rely on your genetics. So with Jena, as we would, first of all, like as we built muscle and the improvement, even though the training a lot of times had to do with your glutes, we were really trying to put on size in your shoulders. We were really trying to build up her upper body to match her lower body for bikini. And she would do really well, but man, her lower body just really wanted to put on muscle quickly. And then when we would lean out, her upper body would just shrink and shrink, but the lower body would just retain the muscle. And so it created this imbalance. And that's what we were fighting. I feel like every single improvement season, we were fighting that with your lean out phase of just how to tip the scales just right so that you kept that top and bottom balance. So when wellness came out, and we did that show where you did bikini and wellness. I typically suggest that an athlete really choose one division and really go all in that division. I think, and this is not for everybody, so I don't want to make a blanket statement, but when you have competitors that are choosing to do two different divisions, if you're not focusing completely in one division, and let's say, you're doing well in both divisions, but if you really could put all your eggs in one basket and really focus on that one division, I think athletes tend to do better. Like I said, not a blanket statement. That's also going to depend on what show you're doing, who else is showing up, etc. So lots of other things. So for Jena, though, normally I would not have a client do two different divisions in one show. For reasons I just explained. But our goal for that show was just show up on stage how you are, do bikini with your structure, do the posing, because posing between the two is different. Show up that same show, so that way you are looking the same, hair, suit, everything's the same. Do your wellness, and then let's just get feedback from the judges and see like where they think you should go, because we were kind of at this crossroads of we have both options, but so that's how we came to that wellness decision, and then Jena did wellness the rest. So then our training changed. We fed her more because we were really wanting to put on more actual lean tissue. And yeah, so Jena, when you switched over, I guess, Sadie, do you have any like questions? Because Sadie's not our bikini gal, and I feel like, just like I have, usually have questions, or I don't always understand like the figure and women's physique realm of things. But anything you want to add or say about like bikini? We should also add too, for those of you who don't know, bikini is also a vibe. It's
Yes.
glamour, it's the hair, it's the makeup, it's the stage presence. Like all divisions do have a stage presence, but bikini to some degree is almost like modeling.
It's very pageant-y.
Yes, pageanty. That's a great. So some people don't like bikini for that reason. They like the look, their body fits the structure for that division, but and I was one of those people. At the time, I just didn't like the pageanty aspect of it. It just wasn't me. I felt awkward. But if that's your vibe, and Jena did a great job with stage presence and just really bringing in that showmanship. Yeah, anything to add?
Not really. I was just gonna comment. I know so it's obviously like audio format, and right now we're on Zoom again because we're all in different locations. But I just kind of giggle to myself because you're talking about when she switched over to wellness, being able to like really start pushing food and eating more. And I just saw like Jen in the little corner like light up and smile.
Like, ah.
Food.
Yeah, and some people really like that aspect,
Mhm.
but then that can also really be just as hard. So, okay, so Jenna, as you transitioned into wellness, what were some of the things you liked, didn't like? What was some of the scary things? Maybe how was posing different? Just anything that you can enlighten the listeners on what that transition was like.
Yeah. So Sadie, it's just saying that I smiled and so it wasn't honestly, it was so hard to transition from bikini to wellness mentally for me because I had just gotten down to the smallest number in my adult life. And now we're going to be pushing a lot of food. You need to lift. I love the lifting heavy part. Like
Hmm.
I was finally able to start putting on the 45 pounds, as many as I could to get the lower half built and the upper two. But the food was probably the hardest for me is like, okay, your calories are going way up. You're going to have to gain a lot more in this off season. And at that point, like I was terrified because I was so like, this was my goal. Like I wanted to be the smallest. And now you're telling me I'm going to have to get really uncomfortable and start gaining weight and gain all this weight back, even though we're putting on muscle. But yet in your head, you see the scale go up. And that was probably the hardest for me. Like I honestly love being in prep. I love the structure. I love dieting down. And to go do the reverse was awful. Like, and it
Yes.
thankfully, and you have to have a great coach. And thankfully, Ashley was there for that because I'm like, there's days I'm like, I almost wanted to tap out. And most people like the off season because they do get to eat all that. But seeing that
Yes.
number go up and seeing clothes not fit and seeing your body in a totally different way than like you get used to that mindset of like I'm shredded, I'm lean, you love that look,
Yeah.
and then you are so uncomfortable and trying to pose while you're in that like off season is even harder. So you're just like, ugh, you just feel gross and just you almost don't want to do it, but at the end what you're trying to build and going for that. So yeah, the hardest for me mentally was the gaining the weight and just putting on all the size. But I knew at the end of the day what we were working towards and that it was going to eventually come off. So that was that was the hardest part of switching to wellness. But I did like once we did finally start the prep again and seeing all that weight come off again, the more fullness of the muscles, the more like jacked I was. I'm like, oh, this was the body type I had always
Hmm.
wanted. Even though like bikini, I was like, oh, I want to be as small as I can, but the muscle wasn't there. Like I love having the bigger like glutes and the legs and the bigger shoulders so I could actually like push myself a lot more in wellness in the gym and all the weights. So I ended up liking my body type more after putting on the weight. So
Isn't that crazy? And I think this is a good example of when people diet in general. So, there's a lot of noise right now about like the GLPs, Ozempic, tirzepatide. Um, and different ones will say, well, I kept my muscle when I dieted because like you can see my muscle more. And it's not that the person built more muscle necessarily when they dieted. It's because the body fat came off. Now, obviously, you were doing all the things, during dieting, lifting, getting your protein and all that. But I think you're an example of, kind of what we're seeing now is just because you got down to a certain scale number, and just because you thought you met that scale goal, that number that in your mind meant that when I get to this number, I will be happy. I will look the way I look. I will be happy. Like you quickly found that that wasn't the case. And, so then when we reevaluated, we came up with a new game plan. You executed everything I ever asked, the training, the cardio, actually minimal cardio. Like I think we were down to the point where you weren't doing like any cardio, and that was hard for you. Because Jenna also likes to be like so busy. And so her neat activity that's non-exercise thermogenesis, and wait, non non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So really what that means is somebody, yeah, you could do 30 minutes on a cardio machine. And yes, let's say you burn your 200 calories, but then the rest of the day, if you're pretty sedentary, you don't move, that could actually be worse, even though you have set cardio, than somebody who is like Jena and was like Energizer Bunny, never stopped moving all day long. We got to the point where with her, we're like, you can't do any structured cardio because your NEAT activity is so high. And so, um, I think you would just get to the point where you were overstressing your body. But um, yeah, so, but thank you for pointing out that, I think people can really resonate that just because you got down to the scale number that you wanted, it didn't make you happier. And so, being at a larger scale number, but putting on the muscle that you wanted, you achieve this look that you actually liked better for you personally, even though that was a larger scale number.
Well, and I think that's pretty common, and kind of like Jenny said when you first started talking, like, all of us are in that like 30s range, and it's like we grew up in the era where, yeah, it was like smallest number, smallest. And I think that everyone still has, especially females, has that in their head. Like they want to be the smallest possible because they want to look like this person on the magazine cover or on Instagram, whatever the case may be. But they're not actually understanding that the person that they want to look like probably weighs 20 to 30 pounds more than they think they do and has like a lot more muscle mass. It's like people aren't understanding that being smaller doesn't necessarily equate that look, where it's like it does take some weight and some muscle to achieve that quote toned, sculpted look. So, like you said, I think that was like it's a really popular like thought process. And yeah, like, Jenna experienced that too. And that's kind of neat that going through competing, and then she realized that that's kind of that thought process mentality. Once you embrace it, like she ended up being a lot happier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. But you're right, Jen, it is scary. Because when
Reverse is
we
hard.
reverse is so hard, and people don't talk about it as much because I feel like there's so much light on the prep and,
Mhm.
cutting down and getting that like chiseled work, that chiseled look. And I think for the most part, well, I don't want to say most part because I don't want to speak for everybody, but I can resonate with that of I like to have more of that chiseled look. And I think there's many competitors that they like that lean, chiseled stage look, but it's just not realistic to maintain. And so being able to love yourself in all aspects of bodybuilding in different seasons is really important. So Jenna, you chose to take a break from competing or stop or I don't want to say like retire, or, just but like you took a pause. We'll just say that because I feel like if you say you took a pause, there's always that space that you could come back. And so when you took a pause from competing in general, what kind of led you to that decision, and where are you right now with that decision, and like how are you feeling about your body and just your fitness journey in general?
So I took a pause just because I was going through so much personally, and I went through a lot of it through the competitions. Like, I'll be honest, I went through a divorce, all that stuff while being in prep, while doing like my divorce is finalized the week I had a show. So it's very, very hard on your body doing prep anyways. And then you have this extra stress and all the stuff and the kids and all that. And I had to start putting more of my focus on trying to get my body back because my body started going through a lot of hormone issues and dealing with that just from all the stress that I was under. So I'm like, okay, I
Mhm.
need to step back. I need to reevaluate everything, get my body back in line. And I do fully plan on coming back to compete. But then I also
Mhm.
needed to start putting more of my career into play, which led actually thankfully through competitions led me to the career that I'm on, and I'm so grateful for that. But I definitely do plan on calling you Ashley here shortly and trying to get back.
That's why I said a pause. I'm
Yeah,
like, I know better.
yeah, I don't know, I love competing, I love being in prep, I just love the focus and the drive that it gives me, and just a goal, like that goal to have at all times, because I just feel like even right now, I was always used to having a set, like a show set of what I can look forward to, and not having a show set just kind of feels like I don't know, you're irrelevant now. Like it's just
Yes, I get
this
that.
whole
Hmm.
like your your personality, everything, like all this stuff that you always focused on and wanted to achieve is just like not there. So I don't like that part of it, of the pause, but I knew that my body just kind of needed that break of letting life settle and finally being happy in life and getting remarried and all that stuff. And so now I'm like finally starting to get to that point of like it's almost go time. So
So let's go time. So
yes.
how do you,
I'm excited to see like the difference now too between like just where you're at in life, how this next, whenever you do decide to like pull the trigger, like prep and show and all that stuff, and just to see like the difference, like when you're not in such a like a chaotic environment and so many other stress factors and not using, which is super common, like using prep as like a distraction for like real life stuff, which is I think a lot of competitors do that. Compared to this next time where it's going to be totally different why, totally different goals, like whole new like environment, everything, and just to see how much better and the ways your body responds now. Like I think that'll be really exciting. Like I'm excited to see that part of it for you. So that'll be good.
Sam?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like how, I think when someone competes, it's different, like what Sadie's saying. Um, I think it's different when you're competing to disconnect. But
Mm-hmm.
for you, Jenna, what happens when you compete while supported?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, how does that look different for you? So I think that'll be exciting for you. Um, but how are you feeling about your body right now? Like, how has some of your training changed? Maybe what do as far as like how did your eating change? Did you still stick to like a really structured macro, or was it hard for you to kind of let up on the reins a little bit? Like what's that transition been like for you?
It was definitely hard at the beginning to just kind of like, I tried not to track as much, but I still like trying to hit my protein, still trying to do the trainings as much as I can. I started doing fitness classes and stuff. So some of like my fitness, like my workouts have been more that way rather than lifting heavy, just because I have those classes in place. Um, but it was very hard. I will say it was very hard at first, that transition, but I've also now, it has been so much like focus on a macro and focus on like, sometimes you always get like obsessive over it. And I think
Yes.
that's how like some of us do. We just get obsessed with it and I can't eat anything else. If I do, I'm going to gain like 10 pounds overnight. Like that was where my head always was, where
Hmm.
now I can like, my body's finally like the stress is starting to relieve a little bit and I'm actually lower now than what I was on my last stage weight. So I was excited
Isn't
about
that
that.
crazy?
Yeah. So I was like, huh, when it took forever, like I could not, like the last couple of preps, it took me forever to get leaned out because my body was just holding on to it. But
Hmm.
it was the stress, it was the hormone, like all that, the stress I was putting putting on my body first off, but the outside of everything
Hmm.
I was dealing with, it was just my body's like, you're done. Like I can't do it
Yeah.
anymore. So now it's been nice being able to kind of like let up on it, but yet my body is finally like getting in place. It's starting to lose the weight again and all that stuff. So I do like it now. But I'm ready to just like, I'm ready. I miss the
I have
prep.
the structure.
I miss I do. I love the
Yeah.
structure. I don't know. Some people don't understand it, but I just like the prep life I love it. So I just like the
Hmm.
focus, the drive, but it has been nice having those like little moments, like where my kids' birthday, like I could have a cupcake with them and stuff and not feel guilty finally on it. So
Right.
stuff
Right.
like that. Yeah.
I think the structure from competing in general really helps to bring structure into the rest of your life. And so I
Yes.
think because you feel like everything has to be checked off when it comes to bodybuilding, that also helps you to stay on task with stuff with the kids and activities and just that overall organization. Um, and from a professional standpoint or from, your work, I think that helps you to just stay very goal driven when it comes to, um, your professional life as well. So that, with that being said, bodybuilding, competing, when you decided to take a pause, the universe came back full force to you and was like, all right, well, here's an opportunity. So tell us where that led you from like a, in your profession now.
So with the bodybuilding, some people don't like it, but I absolutely love the spray tanning. When you get the spray tan, like it makes you feel so much better, like your muscles pop and all that stuff. And I hated like after all this tan washed off and I was so white, I'm like, oh, my muscles just don't look good anymore. So I really like started zoning in and I loved the spray tan artist so much. I'm like, oh, and I talked to them at every competition. I'm like, gosh, and they're like, you should just go get certified. If you really like it and whatnot, you should like people need it. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I really looked into it and I flew out to Chicago and I got spray tan certified and I started my own business at home. And then um, it was at one of the shows I was competing at, I talked to the spray tan artist. I was like, hey, like, how do you get involved with doing spray tans at the competitions? And she's like, well, the lady that owns it is going to be here at the next one, which was the next one I was competing at. She's like, I'll have her talk to you. I'll give her your number, all that stuff. So we met, we talked. She saw me spray tan one of the competitors and she's like, you're on, like, let's do this. And I was like, oh gosh, okay, like this is wonderful. But and then it just ended up like a snowball effect because she's like, yeah, do you know of any hair or makeup artists as well? And I go, well, I do hair and makeup too. So I am the one that does spray tan hair and makeup at a show. They'll pull me from the tanning in the morning and do hair and makeup if they need it. And just kind of one package deal. So it's been amazing because even though I'm not technically competing right now, like you're still in that environment. You're still
Yes.
like the community of the bodybuilding is I had never experienced anywhere else. So I love still being in that setting and being with all them and cheering on the competitors and being in the backstage. Like you turn into like this hype mom because you got your first time competitors. I've met the pros or the Olympians and stuff through it. Like the opportunities in the bodybuilding like world is absolutely amazing. So I'm very thankful that competing led me to more doors opening.
That's awesome. What would you say, when it comes to tanning, like what would you say are some really key, like, maybe some things that you've had happen with competitors, maybe some like really big do's and don'ts. You don't necessarily have to get into, all the steps and, because competitors, they need to be looking up that information or, we cover that on another podcast too. But what are some like just really big take homes when it comes to like,
You definitely want to start prepping your skin in advance. Like I would say a month, 2 months out, start exfoliating at least once
there
a
you go,
week.
Nelson.
Yes.
Exfoliate.
Exfoliate.
Sadie knows what I'm talking about.
Exfoliate the skin. There's mitts on like Amazon for a couple bucks. Like the exfoliating mitts are the best. The loofah is not going to really do much for you. A
Like the ones
huge,
that like almost like hurt. Like those are the
yes.
ones you want.
Yes, yes. And you want to get more like oil-free based stuff that you're using. You don't want to have oil on your skin when you come to the spray tanning because it's not going to develop right. It's going to be streaky. It's going to be gross. Um, a lot of people, they wear deodorant to the tanning. Do not wear deodorant. Your armpits can turn green. It's not just, don't wear anything. So I always say like the night before, shower, do everything. You need to shave everything the night before. And then the next morning, just do a quick rinse off of just water. So that way, like everything's rinsed off. There's no oils left on you, all that stuff, because that can totally affect the tanning. And I know we don't see it as much in the women because usually we're moisturizing and exfoliating anyways, but the guys have a lot more issues on that. So guys, definitely prep your skin. And there's been some of the newbies that have never done it, the guys that have never shaved their bodies before, they shaved it for the first time the night before.
Oh no, did they get the bumpies?
They get broke out, they get
Oh.
rashes, and it just does not sit well. So I always say, like, if you know you're going to do a bodybuilding competition and you've never shaved before, start that as soon as you possibly can, like months out if you start your training, whatnot, so that your body like can get used to the shaving and exfoliating. Because there's a lot of people that you just see it all blotchy then. But
Oh, that's a great point. I think even, on the pod here, we have focus, we've talked about tanning and stuff, but I think it's been more female
Hmm.
probably focused. And so, yeah, but yeah, there's guys that compete too that also have to shave and do all the things.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
And
So
it's a whole experience. The spray tanning is a whole experience. I know
uh-huh.
you guys have been through it, and it's just trying to keep them as comfortable as possible through the
Yeah.
experience. But afterwards, they're like, "Oh, I get why you need the tan now." Like,
Yes.
I just feel like you're so like drained by the point of at the end of prep, and then you finally get the tan on. You're like, "Oh, my muscles are popping.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I
Yes.
was hoping to look like." And there's just a lot. I will say, if I know stuff can get expensive in the bodybuilding world, but definitely don't skip on the tan. Like if you need on the hair or makeup, need to do it yourself, I would rather do that. But the tan is gonna make it or break it usually. But because
yeah.
they're
Yes.
I was gonna say with the tan, like in the like talking about like shaving and stuff. Um, so I've had some people say don't wax, and I've had some people say do wax. Like from your side of things, like the actual tanner, like do you feel like it makes that much of a difference? Can you notice or tell, or like if someone's been waxing, just keep waxing, or like what's your thoughts on the wax versus shave debate?
so I feel like if you've never waxed before and you're doing it like the week of, I would probably not. Just because it can affect the skin area and because you're ripping off that first layer of skin. But
Mhm.
if you've always waxed prior, keep waxing. That it doesn't really make a difference if your skin's used to it versus shaving and that. But yeah, if it's your first time doing it that week before, like I would probably rather shave than
Then wax.
waxing. Yeah, but if you've done it, it usually don't see much of a difference.
Yeah.
Well, and what people may not realize too is that we're not just talking about waxing or shaving the obvious areas, but when these competitors are getting tan, I mean, we're shaving like arms, legs, your backside,
Everything.
everything. And so, um, yeah, you could continue, wax the areas you wax, but I like the advice you gave about even just shaving ahead of time because if you're not used to shaving your forearms, and then, whether you're male or female, now you're shaving your forearms or your back. If you're not used to shaving your back and then you shave your back for the first time, I think that's a good tip that you gave, something to think about.
And the amount
Um,
of time it takes to shave your entire body. Like,
oh, forever.
It's such
awful.
and but the number one tanning tip I will say is do not use, and any spray tanner will tell you this, do not use any Dove products. Nothing. That if you have
Really?
any Dove products in your bathroom, throw them out. They're horrible. They will wreck your tan as yeah, it's bad.
Wow. How come? Is it because of what's in them or why
What's
Dove
yeah,
specifically?
what's in it. We learned that through all of our certifications on the spray tans. Like Dove products are awful. And I always hate it because a lot of hotels have like the little bottles or the stuff that's in the showers.
Oh,
And a lot of the athletes don't know that. And they'll take their shower before they come down. And I'm like, oh, you used Dove, didn't you? Like, no. But
oh,
yeah,
how
so that's just a
interesting.
huge one. And any spray tanner will tell you that do not use any Dove products, but try and find
Okay.
anything that's like more oil free, paraffin free, all that stuff. But like Hemp's, I like Hemp's lotions and that kind of stuff,
Yep.
but just nothing Dove. No body wash,
I feel
no
like
hair stuff, nothing. Just take it out of your routine.
I feel like you need to do a post on that with like a big poster that says "Say no to Dove" or something.
Yes, yes,
Like,
it is
Like
bad.
the drug one, but like instead it's like a little dove inside.
yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yeah.
just say no.
So that's definitely a number one tip. Do not use any Dove products. Just throw it away.
Awesome. Very good to
Yeah.
know. Um, yeah, anything else, tanning wise, and then we can switch over to hair and makeup. I know what I was going to ask. If somebody, they're making their tanning appointments, what can they expect as far as like, when will their first tan be with you guys? And how do they know when to schedule their second one, like the day of? Like, do you guys take care of that? like Sadie and I know these answers, but like other competitors, how does that process work? How might they go about signing up for their time slots? Yeah,
Yeah. So it's always the Friday, or like it depends on what type of show. If it's a 3-day show, it'll be a Thursday, but most are 2-day shows for like the ones that we do here. Um, you'll make your appointment. If you go on the registration on where the show is at, whatnot, there's usually a link for the tanning, hair, and makeup. You'll schedule your time on the Friday, and usually we start around like, depends on how big the show is, but usually around 2 or like 3 to 4 that afternoon. You schedule it. Usually we go until like 8 or 9 that night on the different tans. And you get that time slot that you're there for on Friday. So you
okay.
come
And
in.
do you think that time slot really matters? Like if I'm a first timer, I am pretty safe to just choose any time between 5 and 8 for the most part, unless there's meetings or anything else. Like that's
Yeah.
not going to matter very much, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it doesn't matter as long as you have a time slot. You can, and if you want to, sometimes you can go down and check in. If you get there earlier, you can go down and be like, hey, I'm early. We usually can get you in right away. So sometimes that makes it easier. So we're not just waiting for the last few at the end. Like it makes
Sure.
our day go quicker too. Um, so you'll get your first tan, the whole base coat, you get everything done. Well, you're gonna each time, but everything fully, we're gonna make sure you're fully covered, all that stuff the very first night. We always get asked, when can I shower? You do not shower. Like you get your spray tan that first night. You're not gonna shower until after the show is over. So the first
Planning
one,
being stinky.
yeah, you're gonna be stinky. You're gonna smell like, we are gonna touch you up. Like there's people that's gonna have pee marks. You're gonna have sweat marks, like all that stuff. But the main thing, like you want to wear loose clothing to it, like long sleeve, long pants, loose dark clothing. You're not gonna want to put bra or underwear back on. Don't put any socks back on, and don't wear any backpacks or bags around your shoulders because that's gonna rub it. And I know. Oh, go
I was
ahead.
gonna say, how about the material that you wear? Does it matter? Do you think like silky, cotton, spandexy? Does it matter? Does it not matter?
Great
I would
question.
I would say more do either cotton or silk, that stuff. If you wear anything tight, like spandexy, it's gonna rub it. So we don't want any, like there's always gonna be one that shows up with like tight, tight things to put back on. And we're like, no, 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 like please don't. Like go wear a robe or something instead. But you definitely want dark, loose fitting, like
Hmm.
what I bring is like an extra large clothes, even if you are like tiny, tiny, just to keep it over. And then a lot of the hotels want you to bring your own black sheets. That's something a lot of people don't know about either. So I always have my extra black sheets and I just wrap it around myself so I don't get any tan on any of the bedding, because sometimes they will charge you more. Like,
And black towels.
yes. Yeah, bring your own
Mhm.
towels because they are going to get dark. You're going to look like, when you rinse it off, it's going to look like coffee is coming off of you. So we do the first one coat the night before, and then that next morning, this is how ours does it. We have, it's first come, first serve the next morning, but we have time slots for guys and time slots for girls. So we'll say like guys are between like 6 and 7, girls are between 7 and 8. And then that's how we usually do a second coat. If for some reason someone is extremely pale, we'll decide if they need a third coat too. So it's just first come, first serve. Usually when it first starts, the people are like piled in there. So it's just, we get them in and out as quick as we can, and that second coat dries a lot faster, so we are able to go a lot quicker. But that's just how that one does it. I know there's other um, companies that do time slots the next morning, but ours, it's first come, first serve. Within that hour, get you in, get you out, and then they're good to go. And then we do all the glue and glazing backstage before their division gets called on.
Awesome. Would you recommend, because obviously you're going to have to coordinate to some degree that next morning with like hair and makeup and your tan, would you recommend someone really trying to get their hair and makeup done first, then come in for tan, or vice versa? Or does it really not matter? It just becomes a time, like just get it in.
It usually becomes more of the time, but a lot of the hair and makeup is usually earlier. But if we are down there tanning already and say like their hair's at 7 and we have like we'll get them into tanning first because it makes it easier. But also at the same time, like I kind of like having the hair and makeup done first because then you're sitting down doing that. And so if you do get any like seat marks or whatnot, then it's
Yes.
not
Yep.
rubbing your tan off. So it's just kind of more of time in that next morning because then you got the athletes meeting you got to think about and all that. So, and regardless, like if you do get any marks on you, we have the touch up. We can fix all that stuff
Right.
anyways. But I think it's more on it also the coaches check-ins, their meals. You gotta factor in all that stuff because sometimes if it does get backed up, which we try not to, then people are like, oh no, I was supposed to eat at this time. I have to go check in
Hmm.
with my coach, all that stuff. So yeah,
Mhm.
I would rather, I don't know. It's kind of either way. Just kind of if you want to sit there longer, go
Right.
do the hair, makeup first or do the
Right.
tan
So,
first.
so the take home message is don't get so caught up on that.
Yeah,
Just do the order that's going to work best for you, knowing that
yeah.
no matter if something happens, you guys can always touch up things backstage.
Oh yeah. We have
Awesome.
so many different things we can do backstage that gets you all back to one looking color. And I know a lot of people don't realize like some people like usually tattoos don't matter anymore, but there's some people that have tattoos that they're kind of regret or have like bad words on them and stuff. We have tattoo cover up and stuff that we can blend everything in. So yeah,
Cool.
it's nice.
Cool. Okay, so transitioning into then hair and makeup because you guys also do that. And what are kind of the same thing like with the tans? What are some of the do's, the don'ts regarding hair, makeup? How do you schedule? What time slots should you maybe look for? Or do you guys take care of determining what time? So anything you can say about the hair and makeup process.
Depends on the show. Some shows start really early. Some of the hair and makeup starts at like 4:30 in the morning, depending on how big the show is. So it's kind of up to you. Usually you go on there and you schedule your time slot. Um, if you're getting both of them, you want to like allow, and sometimes the person that's scheduling it too will kind of try and coordinate it back to back. So you're not sitting there long periods of time in between it, but also allowing enough time for the hair to get done, the makeup to get done, all that. And I think it's more like because some people really like the early morning ones, and other people are like, I want to sleep as long as possible. But it just kind of goes with that checking in with your coach, eating, trying to schedule those times
Well, and I
around.
think too, like when your division goes up too, like I know like me for
Yes.
figure's always first. So
Yeah.
I'm always like getting my stuff done like way
Yes.
early.
Yeah. That's another thing you want to consider. Like if you are going to be one of the first ones, I would try and get it knocked out as quick as
Mhm.
possible. Figure is always one of the first ones. Yeah, that and we always a lot of the guys and stuff, so we try and get the guys' tans done quicker too. But yeah, it's definitely you want to figure out your time of your division, time you need to eat or check in with your coach, and then to schedule hair and makeup. But yeah, I would definitely say always look at other competitors or other type of glam that you like and show the makeup and hair artists kind of like the hair you're going for, the makeup look you're going for. Because I know a lot of people when it's very glam, and a lot of us don't do glam makeup every day, especially in the Midwest. We're just kind of plain. Like
For
so
sure.
so people are kind of really shocked when the eyelashes get put on and the full on like eyeshadow and all that stuff, but that's on stage, it's going to look great. So I'm always like, it's okay, it's okay. Like some people are like, there's just so much. I'm like, on stage it's gonna look great. And then they're like, oh my gosh, you're right. It looks so good now. I'm like, yeah, once
Yeah.
it
Well,
all comes together.
Mhm.
I think it's almost too like I was told for like wedding pictures, you want it like darker because you gotta remember like the flash and the lights is going to really wash stuff out. And like I know people don't think about that like when you're on stage, like you're getting blasted with stage lights. So like whatever, like a day to day looks good and like natural, if you were to wear that on stage, like it look like you have like no makeup on.
Yeah. Yeah. The
Yeah,
the
but you're right.
contouring's a lot more depth
Mhm.
and a lot more brighter colors and all that because you want it to show up in the pictures.
Yeah. But if you're not used to that, man, you look in the mirror and you're like, wow, I look like a housewife hooker right now.
Right.
And like, whoa.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a good thing to point out that that's okay. It's
Yeah.
going to look great, like that reassurance that you give. Um, when it comes to hair, what are some maybe recommendations or maybe do's and don'ts when it comes to hair extensions? Like, are they mandatory? Do you have to have extensions? Would you suggest them? When might they not be appropriate? Some of those, um, yeah, just hair details.
Here. So I think it definitely look at the division you're in, because I know some, like a lot of like the bikini wellness, all that is usually long, either curly or straight. Then you got, physique or figure and all that stuff. Some are different because some you want off your shoulders, some a lot of it you want covering your back. You don't have to have extensions, but I would suggest it if you do have more shorter hair. That, I don't know, it just makes it look more uniformed and everything. The different, definitely when you make your appointment for your hair, if you're going to have them put in the extensions, definitely put that in, because it's usually an extra charge, or it takes a little bit longer to put in the extensions. Um, I've done different extensions. I've done the halos, I've done the tape ins, I've done the clip ins. It doesn't really matter, as long, just make sure that they are matching your hair, because there has been some that come in and I'm like, this color does not match your hair whatsoever. And if there is like a certain curl, that if you know at home that you like a certain curl, like I had a girl that liked hers like the really really springy curls, so she brought her own curling iron. Like, you can bring your own curling irons if you like that type. Like, we're going to have a bunch of different curlers anyways, but if there's one specifically, that most people probably wouldn't be doing, you can bring it. We can use that on you too. If there's a lipstick too for the makeup that that you like personally, then bring that stuff and we can apply that on you. So then you have the rest of the day. But with hair, you can have your hair dirty, you can have it clean. It doesn't really make much of a difference. But if your hair doesn't hold curl well, like, let everyone know prior, like, hey, it doesn't hold curl well, so we can put some stuff in it to make sure that it's going to hold, and extra spray it and stuff like that. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, all good tips. Yeah, my hair never wanted to hold a curl ever. Gosh, that was so frustrating. Do you think it makes a difference? Like if somebody wants to do, like, how might someone decide curl versus straight?
I think I've kind of done both, but I think it's just kind of on the look you're going for that day on your stage. I
Hmm.
would say try it at home first. Do your hair curly, do your hair straight, even though if it's not going to be, professionally done or whatnot,
Hmm.
at home. But to see what it looks like with your suit, with your earrings, and your whole thing, the whole package, to see if you like it better straight or curled. I know there was a girl I had, she was very tomboy. She had never done the glam. She had never done anything. And she's like, I just wear my hair straight. So can you just put a little poof in it? And I was like, and even her coach brought her back. She's like, can we do curl? And I was like, yeah, can we? Like, let's try this. And it changed her confidence boost. She's like, I didn't know I could look like this. So it was just like, even though just maybe try stepping out of your comfort zone a little bit, just to see, even doing it at home before if you want to, but I think the curls really get the people into the glam. But I absolutely love when it's completely, like, I know Ashley, you've done it the straight, and
Hmm.
it
Yep,
just
straight and sleek.
it just works so well. Like, my hair is so poofy and frizzy anyway, so when I try and do like completely straight, it's just going to be like up here. So I love when people can make it look good and straight, but yeah, for some, it's just better to have that more volume around their face and on
Mhm.
their back and stuff.
Awesome. Awesome. Any other like tips
Like
that you can think
makeup
of?
and like face prep tips.
Oh,
Makeup.
that's a good question.
Yeah.
So definitely, kind of like with the spray tanning and stuff too, you want to moisturize your face prior, but I would make sure you clean it all off the night before. With our spray tanning company, we usually don't spray tan the face because a lot of makeup artists don't like having that on them. I personally, it doesn't bother me because I'll blend it in regardless of what color. But definitely just make sure, and I always say shave your face too. Like women shave their face if you need the dermal planing like razor, just because it applies the makeup on so much smoother and it looks nicer on stage that you don't have any like peach fuzz or any of that stuff because you are going to be so much darker
Yeah.
that those things can notice more. But just no like oils or lotions on before you come down, just to make it more, because a lot of people will put like their primer, like the makeup artists have certain primers or whatnot, and you don't want it to like counteract with what you already have on. So shave your face, moisturize, but make sure you come with blank face as you're going in.
Nice.
And don't be afraid of
Awesome.
eyelashes.
Yes, especially on stage, it makes it so much more just prominent and pop.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
like you were talking about the look, but there's so many people that are like terrified. They're like, oh, I don't think those are going to be too big of eyelashes. And no, they look great on them, and it puts the whole look together.
Mhm.
So
It must be pretty rewarding to be in a space where you get to be there for kind of that like first initial look, and you get to do that repeatedly throughout the day, show after show, and you get to be part of that. And you're right, you know, I'm sure there's many other competitors who are moms like us who found themselves in whatever situation they were, and so being able to be present for them when they see themselves through a different lens, and you know, to bring that confidence to life that maybe they have suppressed for so long, must be really fun and just rewarding.
absolutely. Like I think it's fun stepping on stage as a competitor, but I think it's even more rewarding to be behind the stage, like seeing it all come together, the everything they worked hard for, then putting the tan, the hair, and the makeup, and just seeing their confidence being boosted even more, and then cheering them on, and they're just like, I don't know, you just become like this big happy family, and we're all hugging each other when they come off the stage. And they, even the guys, a lot of guys don't realize how much just even getting the tan is a huge deal, and having them come up and be like, thank you so much, you have no idea like how much it like this experience was better because of what you guys did and how you helped me get looking better if they had touched up and all that stuff. But there's, some of the athletes, they even got us bagels for breakfast. A guy brought us a bunch of bagels. There's, all of this, we just all become one big happy family. And it's a very rewarding career or like thing to do. And a lot of people don't realize how much it does affect their stage presence when they don't have it. Because there is people that unfortunately don't get the spray tan, and you're just like, you probably would have done so much better if you would have gotten it.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
It can really make or break your package for
Yes.
Well, and
sure.
a lot of people don't like realize too, like, or maybe they do, or I don't know how to phrase it, but like you got to also remember like your package and what you look like on stage is that company's business card. So like they want you to look and feel your absolute best because that again just like reflects back on them. So, you have someone that their tan is spot on, their hair, makeup, all that stuff. Like, people are gonna ask, like, who did your hair and makeup? Like, who was your tanning company? Like, how did you do this? All that stuff. And so it's like you remember, like, they're not gonna let you go out looking like a bag of dicks. Like, if you have pee stains or sweat stains, like,
Yeah.
they got you. Like, they're gonna be like, hey, or if they don't think you're dark enough, they're gonna be like, hey, let me, let me do one more layer. Like, they're literally there to make you look and feel your best. And like, I don't think competitors realize that. Like, they're not just back there just mindlessly spraying you. Like, you guys literally want people to go out and be the best that they can. Like, so
Yeah.
that's cool. And like, when I've talked to the people backstage, like, everyone's nervous. It's super awkward. So like to have someone that's sitting there talking to you, just like joking around with you, like it really, really helps to bring your nerves down and kind of get your mind off of things. Like, yes, you're standing there like naked, being blasted with like Oompa Loompa, but if you can sit there and talk to someone and joke around with someone or like connect with them, like it's such a better experience. And that's like the experience I've had, luckily enough, and just with like the shows that I've done. So it's just been nice. And I don't know. I don't know, like, I guess where I was going with that. 'Cause
No, we're
obviously I have not
definitely
had coffee yet, but
we're definitely the ones that try and like break the ice for these new competitors, especially that have never done it. Like it is you're very exposed out in a room naked, but we keep the women where they need to, men, no one sees each other, but
Yeah.
you definitely have to have that jokingness, that personality to help them stay comfortable and make it fun. But we are looking backstage, like, does someone need an extra spray, like need to be darker, how can we fix it? And we're not going to let them go on stage if they have like a spot that they need touched up or whatnot. We're like, get over here, we'll help you fix it. And we even like adjust their straps on their suits and gluing them to make sure that everything stays in place. So it's definitely a huge thing that a lot of people don't realize is nice to have backstage helping them.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. Well, do you have anything else to add as far as like even like tan, makeup, hair, just competing in general? Anything like we didn't touch on or anything?
No, I definitely want to say, like, make sure, as I'm talking about like the competing aspect of it, definitely have a great coach. And I'm so glad that Ashley's been mine because, like we talked about
Aw.
earlier, trying to get through everything, like personally, mentally, emotionally, physically, like having
Yeah.
that coach that is very intuitive on everything and helps you get through those hard times when you want to tap out. Like it makes or breaks the sport. And I think that is just something I wanted to like make sure people know. Like if you're not vibing with your coach, it's okay to get a different one, but definitely find one that is all on board trying to get you to your best
Yeah.
package and stuff. So I just want to say that.
Aw, thanks, Jenna. And I think it is how you said too, like if you're not vibing with your coach, it's totally fine to just find a different coach. And I think some athletes will kind of do like they don't do well at a show, for example, and then they get a new coach and they kind of do this coach hopping. But um at the end of the day, like you really want to connect with your coach, like you're saying. And I think most coaches too, if they're mature and confident in their skills, if they have an athlete who decides to maybe go a different path coaching wise, a good coach is going to say, you know what, I get that and I support that and I appreciate our time together and best of luck to you. So I
Yeah.
don't think athletes should ever be scared to, change coaches or just try new avenues. So,
Mm.
but to add to that too, when you do vibe well with your coach, that can make all the difference too, because the longer you're with the coach, the more shows you do together. Now they know your body even better. And
Mhm.
so that can really be to your advantage moving forward. And so, yeah, but I am so glad that we got to do this with you today. And yeah, we appreciate your time and your expertise in the area. And I think you covered, just a lot of things a couple things too that I didn't really think about.
Yeah.
But I think it's really helpful for competitors and give them some of that comfort too, because, the tanning, the hair, the makeup, especially if this isn't what the athlete is used to, it can be very scary. And
It's
so,
very overwhelming the first
yes.
time trying to get all that stuff figured out. And I feel like I know I personally like overthought everything and tried to plan everything. And just hearing from you, Jenna, like saying like timing, like it really doesn't matter. Like, figure out when your division is up and then just go backwards from
Mhm.
there and they'll figure it out. They'll put you where you need to be when you need to be and go from there. So that was
And if anyone has questions at any time, find someone like the expediters at the show or the spray tanners or whatnot. Well, everyone's more than willing to help. Like it's amazing how like the community, everyone's like, oh, I don't want to, I'm interrupting anyone. No, go and ask them questions that you need to. So everyone's there helping.
Love
yeah.
that. Great advice. All right. Well, thanks for joining us. And yeah, we'll be on the lookout for when you decide to get those
Come
heels
back.
out again. Yes.
I'm ready. So I'll probably be calling you here soon.
All right. I'll look forward to it. So,
All right.
okay. All right. Well, thanks again. And that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. So like always, everyone tune in, subscribe, follow along, all that fun stuff, Instagram, whatever. Like, like I said, you guys have like topics you want to hear or people you want to hear from or questions, don't be afraid to reach out to any of us. We'll have all of Jenna's stuff linked in the episode notes and all that, so you guys can find her, follow along with her, reach out to her if you have more like tanning, hair, makeup questions, stuff like that. Jenna also always posts like the most bomb makeup and outfits on her stuff. So if you ever need outfit inspo, Jenna's a good one to follow along with. But yeah, if you want, Jen, just hang on the line here real quick and I will end our podcast and then we'll talk to you afterwards. Okay? All
Sounds
right.
good.
All right. Well, yeah, again, thank you guys and we'll see you for the next one.
Bye.
Bye.